Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on Python basics, and in this video we'll cover Python modules. So let's look at the agenda. So today we will cover what are Python modules. We'll cover how we can use Python modules and how we can create our own Python modules. So I have created this Notion template. I'll just share this in the description box. So it contains the notes for this lecture, as you can see here, so you guys can utilize it for the reference. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started with Python modules. So Python modules are nothing but Python files. So these Python files have some logic, a variable, a function, or a class that can be reused in some other Python file, right? So how we can use it? So let's take a look at the PyCharm. So you want to use some inbuilt module like math. So what I can do, I can just import it and use math dot. You can see when I type dot here, there are all the functions that are inside the math module. It's power, square root. What does power do? Like 2 raised to power 3. Let's just print this one. So as you can see 8, so it's like we are calculating the cube of 2. Similar to that, there are some other functions that are predefined in the math module. Let's say square root of 4 is 2. Alright, so what is a module here? If I just press control on a Windows and command on Mac, so you can see module math. Okay, so it's an inbuilt module of Python. If you just see the structure, you can see so many inbuilt functions are there, right? From this list we can use mod. It's easy to understand. You can say all kind of mathematical functions are here, but one thing to notice here, you can see this module doesn't have any method or function body, right? It's just saying pass. That is because originally this module is written in C, and this is just a Python wrapper on top of it, and we are just importing that Python wrapper. But there are some pure Python modules as well. So unfortunately this inbuilt module is made in C. So as you can see, it's according to the C platform, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. So as you can see here, we did not define these functions, right? We are just reusing them. So that is how modules basically help you to reuse your code and to write a clean code, right? And it also helps you to collaborate. Like you create a module and you share with some of your fellow developers, they can import it like this and use it. So one thing to keep in mind is a single Python file is a module, but a group of modules is called a package. So we will see down the line in this lecture how a package looks like. What if I just want the square root function, right, separately? I don't want to use the math keyword here. So what I can do is import square root from math. Alright, so here import math, I will just keep it as it is, but for square root I will use import square root from math. So I can directly use the square root sqrt. Okay, that's interesting. Am I giving a wrong keyword? Sqrt. Alright, I think that is the wrong syntax. So the correct syntax is from math import square root, right? So now I don't have to write math here. I can just directly use the function inside the math module. I can directly use the square root function. Alright, so there is also a concept of alias. So how we can use a alias for your modules, right? So from math import square root right, as sqt. Let's say I want to call it sqt. So instead of directly using square root sqrt, I'm just giving it a alias. Okay, so you can give it anything. I can also give s, right? So instead of line 7, I can just use the alias that I created. Okay, that will also produce the same results. So it's useful, like if you are using a function inside a module that has a big name, right, and you want some short form for that, right? In that cases you can use the alias. So now there is a concept of Python libraries. So as I mentioned, Python libraries are a package of modules, right? So what do I mean by that? So libraries are third-party modules that are developed by other developers, and they are uploaded to the Python common repository. Okay, so you can just import them from there. So how we can do that? So let's just see the Python repository first. So you can go to this URL. So this URL gives you a repository for all the Python libraries. Okay, so you can see, let's say in machine learning we use NumPy, right? If I just search it, your NumPy package is here. Okay, and it has many modules that you can utilize. Okay, how do we use it? We use it using pip install NumPy. Okay, so basically in your Python environment you will download this library using pip install NumPy. So I have given the link for this package library in the Notion template. So let's see how we can use this. So there is a concept of virtual environments. So you need to create a virtual environment in order to use your third-party modules. Okay, third-party modules that are also called libraries. So what's a virtual environment? So virtual environment is a isolated Python environment in which you can install all the libraries that you need, but it won't affect your main Python. I'll open the IDE here. So let me just copy the command to create the virtual environment. So now I have created a virtual environment in the Python basics folder. So in order to verify that, you can go here. You can see there is a folder created called VNV, right? So now I need to activate this virtual environment. So there is a command for that. I'll just copy it and run it here. So it's saying no such file or directory. Why is that? There is no dot in front of V. I think that's why. Okay, yeah, because there was a dot here, right? It was complaining there is no such directory. So now I'm inside my virtual environment. So if I do pip here, so you can see it's a valid command and it gave me all the options that are there for pip. Okay, as we saw earlier, if I go to the browser again, in order to install any third-party module, like in this case we have a package called NumPy. If I want to install it, I can just copy this command and run it in our virtual environment. So pip install NumPy. If I just enter, you can see it's trying to download it from the internet. Installing collected packages NumPy successfully installed. Okay, so it has successfully installed NumPy in my system. So after running the command, you can go to your virtual environment venv, and you can see inside the lib folder there is a NumPy folder, right? So you have installed that dependency. So now let's try to install one more popular library, JSON. So JSON is basically used for serialization and deserialization of JSONs. Okay, so we don't need to get into the details, but our goal is just to install it, and I'll just copy this command here. I'll go back to my PyCharm and I paste that command here and run it. You can see it has downloaded it from the package manager, and in this folder you can see JSON folder has appeared. So if I just want to use the NumPy in my program, I can just simply import the NumPy as NP. So NP is a alias. So np.array, and we pass it a list. So what this function will do, it will convert this list into an array. Okay, and if we multiply array with 2, it will return as the double of everything in the list. Okay, if I just run my program, okay, now you can see we are not able to find the module numpy, right? Why is that? But first let's try to run this program. Okay, so in order to run this program, so in my command line I'll go to the folder in which I have my Python program. So I'll just run it, python 3 python libraries .py. okay, if I just run my program, you can see the output here, 2, 4, 6 and 8. We have doubled everything in the list, right? So why we have an error here? You can see this red line. If I hover over it, it's telling me to install the numpy. Okay, but I don't want to install the numpy. So why it's telling me this error? It's looking for numpy in our base Python installation, that is in our users, right? Like I showed you on the terminal. So what I'll do, I'll change our Python PyCharm ID, go to settings, go to Python, I'll change the interpreter, I'll add the interpreter. Okay, so what I can do, I'll go to the folder in which we have our virtual environment. So here at this path I have my VNV folder. So I'll go to lib, not the lib, sorry. I'll go to bin and I'll select the Python. Alright, I'll just apply it and okay. So now you can see this error has gone. Now if I just right click and try to run it, you are able to run it. So now instead of your the basic Python that's installed in your system, we are using the Python installed in this virtual environment. Okay, so that is one thing to keep in mind. So now our virtual environment is running, but if I just want to deactivate it, I can just do that. Alright, now our virtual environment has been deactivated. So you can practice creating virtual environment and installing more libraries and using them. You can also create your own modules in Python. So let's try to create a math module which will calculate the square and the cube of the integer that you provide them. So I'll just copy the code. I have already written it. So now this file called my_math has two functions, square and cube, right? So I'll try to use it in the other file that I have. Let's say here, I'll try to use it here. Okay, so in order to use a module, I'll just say import mymath as m. All right, so now if I just want to print, so now if I just want to use the functions that are written in mymath, so I can just do my m.cube, just pass it a value. All right, also I can do m.square and pass it a value. I'll write these statements inside the print statement so that we can see the output. You can see 27 and 256 are printed here. So this is how you create your custom modules. You can also upload these modules into the Python repository online so that anybody else can import it just like this, use the functions that you have written. So this is how you can make your code cleaner by using modules. Your code is more concise, clean and reusable, right? And it's also helps you to increase the collaboration between the team. So in this video we covered what are modules, what are third-party modules or libraries, how we can create a virtual environment, how we can install the libraries from the internet, and how you can create your own custom module and use it. I think you should practice more creating the virtual environments by yourself, importing the libraries like NumPy or any other simple library, right? You don't have to use a NumPy library. and just practice creating your own modules. So once you are comfortable with it, it will help you in the long term. So that's all for today's video. If you guys have any questions, you can just put it in the comment section. I'll try to answer them. Until then, subscribe to this channel and like this video. Thank you.